Welcome to PPR Podcast. Can you get this? Number 95. And they said we wouldn't make it out of our inaugural 10 shows. Well, look, we've been re-up for 95 seasons. My name is Paul. Everybody knows the star of the show is to my right. His name is Bert Grossman, president of the San Diego Strike Force, who suffered a heartbreaking defeat, but still sponsor this podcast. Bert, we have a very special guest. Would you like to make introductions?
Yeah, one of my favorite route runners of all time, Stevie Johnson from the Buffalo Bills. And then you went to the 49ers and then Chargers, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Thanks for
being welcome, Stevie.
Glad to be on.
Hey, you were recently, you're a Poway resident now?
Indeed, yeah. We represent Poway right now. We got All-Star baseball coming up, so you know, we got locking in with the young ladies with the softball team.
Fair enough. But we last saw you with Corey Legent in his Academy of Pancakes, right?
Yeah. You know, I came out to support Corey. You know, a teammate, like you said. Bert, you know, played one season with the Chargers, and that's where I met him. And Corey, he's like-minded. You know, he's for the community, for the youth. You know, and for, you know, progress, positive progressions. And, you know, he had his camp, so I came out to support him, and it was a great turnout. It was good to see the kids and, you know, interact with them and just, you know, continue doing what we do best, and that's sports and uplifting these kids.
Yeah, and it's now, I see a lot of players now, like Corey. Corey's doing it a lot with the free camps, which I love. I mean, it got for a while. Like, players are making, like, millions a year, and they're still charging kids, like, $50, $100 to go to their little skills camp, and it was crazy to me. So it's great to see the kids come out. He had like 400 kids out there.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of those guys that you talk about with that charge, you know, sometimes those kids don't even get a lot of training, you know, at those camps. You know, a lot of the stuff is just doing drills. And what I liked about Corey's and how we run ours at HBHF is we make it all transitional. You know, everything that you do, you can transition that into the game. You know, whether it's something on the field or it's just getting in their mind to be able to connect and network with the player across from you. You know, so I make that a point, and Corey made that a point for those kids to, you know, interact with each other because they all went from the same area. You know, and it was pretty cool for that bond to be connected.
Well, hold on, I gotta ask something because I'm gonna guess. If you could guess that he had a cousin that played for San Diego State basketball, who would you guess it was?
I wouldn't even know.
Take a wild guess.
One of the Johnson brothers? Who?
No.
Who?
Come on.
Who?
Stevie Claw. You know who the Claw is?
No, who's the Claw?
Yeah, that's Kawhi Leonard.
No!
Yeah,
they're cousins. You didn't know that? I didn't know that. Somebody told me that last week, and I'm like, nah. And then I saw your hairdo, and I was like, oh, they are. Got it now.
yeah. Kawhi, he's over in Santa Fe area. I'm in Poway. You know, just connected from the bottom.
Well, let's, you know what? Let's just go there. First of all, is that knee, without speaking out of school, because I don't want you to get in any trouble with Kawhi, but is that knee ever going to be right again?
I mean, you know, it's always progressions. You know, I don't think it'll ever be perfect. You know, you can tie it into like with the NFL players. You know, nobody's ever gonna be perfect. You know, nobody's gonna be 100%. You know, but as long as you can go out there still and manage it, you know, I think that's good enough, you know, with the talent that they have.
Well, let me ask you guys both this question, because we had this debate on our Tuesday show. Just if his career were to end today, has Kawhi Leonard done enough to be considered a basketball Hall of Famer, in your view?
Absolutely. What? Absolutely.
Yeah,
because anytime you pull up any offensive player, you can throw out Kawhi. You know, if you throw out any, hey, we need a big play even on offense, you can throw Kawhi in there with anybody, you know, to get that bucket. And it may not be, some people might question it because it don't look as fancy as others, but get the bucket, right? We here to score, play defense. That's it, and win. And that's what he marked all three of them off. So, you know, definitely first ballot.
Yeah, he has the rings. He's been Defensive Player of the Year twice, I believe, right? Or one, at least one. I mean, he's been at one point in his career the best at what he does. So doesn't that get you in, or is there? Do you need to have another 2 or 3 seasons?
You didn't have to ask us the question. You don't want to answer the question. I wouldn't say.
Well,
that.
I'm just trying to get some clicks here, okay?
Oh, okay, my bad.
All right, hold on. You dropped an acronym.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'll be with you.
Stevie, you dropped an acronym, HBHF. Have business, help me out again.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, handle business, have fun. Yeah, it's a mindset. It's a mentality thing that I came up with. I created just to, have something for a legacy that anybody can utilize, as a personal mentor or, just something that can get them back on track. The mindset is to handle business, then have fun and repeat. Handle business however you can, and then have your fun if you want to, and then just repeat that again. That's the, simplicity of life. And that's what I push within the youth and within my circle.
So I have a question here because we have high school coaches, players are a big audience for ours, and you have a couple things I want to ask about your opinion on. Homeschooled and only played football 2 years in high school?
Yeah, definitely. So it's all about situation. It wasn't like by choice. It's just situation. I didn't know what was going on with the high school thing, only playing 2 years. Now that was a pretty unique situation, and I had the opportunity to transfer to another school because I was in a school with a ton of history, and it was a lot of players there, and then they just built a new school. But within transferring to that new school, they didn't have football at the time. So I was just playing basketball. But then once our junior year came around, then we had a football team, and that's why I only played 2 years. But my whole mindset for transferring was to become the first. I wanted to become the first to make it instead of being, I guess a follower, from all the rich history that was at the one school. I wanted to transfer and become the first, and it ended up happening. I was blessed to make it through the ups and downs. It wasn't perfect, but I utilized everything within, my HBHF mentorship to, elevate the youth.
And you get that because we get that a lot with kids. I mean, nowadays with social media, instant gratification, it's like, I got to be D1. But then you went to junior college.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, great point right there. They want that instant gratification, and it's tough because everybody can't get it. And that's why we do what we do with our camps. We don't just send them through drills. We really talk to them. We got to get into their mind because these kids, once they run into failure, it goes left. They end up wanting to transfer, or they get frustrated, mentally frustrated. They can't communicate right. But we here to provide that and let them know, like, yo, we've been through the same thing, and this is how you handle it. And that's what we like to provide. Me going from high school and wanting to be the first, but I had to go to junior college. That was a setback, and I cried about it. And you gotta know that. But I just kept going. I went back to handling my business and having fun. And one step to another, I kept leveling up each time, and I still became the first. So, those things happen, but you got to just continue to get back on your grind and handle your business, then have fun, and handle your business, then have fun, and just keep that going.
And then the last part of this, because it applies the story to everything. Transfers. Now, your first year at Kentucky, not so good. Most kids would have transferred, but your second year is astronomical. I mean, but kids won't stick that out nowadays. They won't work through it, or a lot of them won't. Some do. But, I mean, talk about that, because, 2006, you had 100 yards, and then 2007, you have 70 catches for 1,200 yards or something.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool, that's another unique situation. And just before I tell that story, this is why I'm out there. Like, I don't usually speak or, put myself out there too much, only in the Buffalo community. Because, but now I feel like the story and the things I've been through can help a lot of kids. So with that story of me not transferring from Kentucky, that had nothing to do with Will. I wanted to, but my wife at the time, she was like, "Nah, you better get back on that bus and handle it." You know what I'm saying? And make it happen. So, I couldn't transfer.
Well, Stevie, that leads me to my next question, and following up on Bert. People like yourself, who now are in the business of mentoring successfully, I might add, usually have had somebody in their life who, whether they knew it or not, were mentoring them at the time. And was that your wife?
Yeah, she was one of them. It like they say, it takes a community or it takes a village, and that's real. That don't mean you have to stay with that one person forever. And that's the type of mentor that I am. I'll be there forever for you. However, I know there's, you can level up from me to someone else. Use my platform or use me to get somewhere else, and then you go ahead and continue to blossom. And for me, it was like I had father figures. I have friends, like one of my best friends, Asian kid, we twins, but Asian kid, you never would expect me to be hanging out with him in school. But I couldn't do my classwork as good as I needed to stay on the team. So I ended up becoming friends with him, and he's like my best man everywhere. He'll be here next week. But without him, I wouldn't have had that spark. Without my wife keeping me humble in Kentucky, I wouldn't have had that spark. So a lot of people can be that mentor for you. Just got to open your mind up.
Oh, that's a great story, dude.
And I can see
that's great.
Yeah, and I got a question for you on everything now. You're doing all the questions. Say, tell me this, because I watched you. I mean, and you just said you played basketball, and if you watch you route running, you can see you play basketball. But the big argument now is, do you go play 7-on-7 or do you go play basketball? And as you as a route runner, if you went 7-on-7 and didn't play basketball year round, you think you would have been that route runner?
Nah. If I didn't play basketball, I don't think I would have been that route runner. I wouldn't have opened my mind to how can I probably would have been stuck in trying to run better routes or faster routes or more quick twitch, all in the same wheelhouse of football. But me having that basketball background and knowing that I can cross people over, like I loved Allen Iverson. So every time I'm outside on the street, I know I can cross somebody and make somebody move into a certain area. So it was just one off season. I was like, how can I do something different, without trying to strain my body to be faster than what I think I can be. But you can't really get faster. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's only a certain point of how fast you can get. And then trying to break down and run routes. So I just mixed in the basketball, element of it, and it was easy. And what made it easier was being able to communicate, learning how to communicate with my quarterback. You can't just, as a receiver, you can't just go out there and run anything, and think it's going to work. You got to have that communication with your quarterback so he understands what you're doing. And this is what ties into our mentorship. I wouldn't have learned how to communicate with my quarterback if the things I went through in college, the first year, having to go talk to Andre Woodson, who was a star up for Heisman at the time, and I was just a junior college kid coming in. Having to go talk to, coaches. I never talked to coaches. I just let my work on the field do the talk. But that wasn't getting me in the game. My best friend, one of my best friends in college, Dickie Lyons, he told me to go talk to the coach. I had to put my pride aside and learn how to talk to people. And after that, I got in the game once, scored 2 touchdowns against Kent State, and never came out the game again, all because of that conversation, So it all ties in. Everything that I do, it ties into kind of what I went through. And if I can make it, I always say this, if I can make it, I swear on everything that these kids can make it, because they got way more than what I had coming up.
But yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to make you seem like a dinosaur, but when you came into the league, it was still, I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm wrong a lot, Stevie, but when you came into the NFL, it was still a running back league, was it not?
Yeah, it was like a mix. It was becoming like a hybrid of it.
But now it's a wide receiver league.
Now it's heavy wide receiver, yeah. Now it's heavy wide.
Do you wish you could come along now? Because it seems like now, first of all, the rules.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's way more fun now.
You can make a bigger splash right out of the get-go. You see all these young guys that are taking advantage of the fact that no one can touch them, and they're making a boatload of money.
Right. It's basically 7-on-7 out there. It's easy. That's why I wasn't really a big fan of 7-on-7. It just wasn't real to me. Even like combine, that's not real to me. Like if we add a one-on-one element or, a team type element, that's cool. But like a lot of the 7-on-7s is no physicality, and it's hard to read a DB when you can't be physical.
Right.
So I'm more of that type of person. I got to be in the fire. I say in the fire.
So we had Warren Moon on here. We've had Jim McMahon, and they're just like, we could play to over 40 now and throw for 10,000 yards, and no one's even allowed to touch us. So I know we're going to slam us on the ground. So I was always fascinated. You're the first Buffalo Bill to have back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving. That's including Andre Reed and Jim Kelly. So what do you think you would have done with Jim Kelly?
I know, all that, man. Not even just Jim Kelly, because that's a good question, and that's good. What I've done with Jim Kelly. A lot of people ask what I've done with Josh Allen. And my answer to those is, like, I had that type of quarterback. My thing was with Ryan Fitzpatrick. without Ryan Fitzpatrick, I wouldn't have been able to do the basketball things that I was able to, because he took a sacrifice on his step back, you know, holding the ball certain times, and you know, going to the line of scrimmage, just doing this, and that means I got 2 routes. You know, that's the you do you signal. You know, so he was able to open his mind to that. So I felt like I had one of those caliber quarterbacks. I feel like it was just those guys that they had around them, though. You know, with Reed having Thurman, you know what I'm saying? How that they had, 4 Super Bowls. That team is unbelievable. And Josh Allen, with the guys that he's got with Diggs, he's the guy who's got 3 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and going for more. But you know, his receiver room is loaded. You know, so it's just amazing right now seeing the NFL is just entertainment. It's entertainment right now. All these teams are stacked.
And Marv Levy would have never let you do the UBU ever.
No, I think so. I think he would have, because
really,
you know, you got to have some type of, you know, camaraderie or connection with your players to go back to 4 Super Bowls. You know, and handling guys like that that was on that level, like those were MVPs. You know, Thurman and Kelly, you know, to keep them together like that, I think he had to have some type of connection and let them go out there and just ball.
Present company excluded, because I do not. I had nothing but respect for you and your career. But,
thank you.
But why do wide receivers? Why do they end up becoming dicks? I mean, they.
You're talking about Antonio Brown. That's it. Who else?
No, every receiver becomes a head case. Every good receiver ends up wanting the ball more, wants more money.
No, Keenan Allen doesn't do that.
Or there are exceptions to the rule, but a lot of high-profile guys end up becoming disruptive on their team. Do you agree with that statement?
It's half and half. You know, it's half and half, because it can be at a lot of positions, and I feel like it's because, you know, we run the most. We running the most. We want to be, hey, look, man, we've been running all over this field. Come on now, pay up or throw the ball more to me. Like, come on now, I'm doing too much running, walking back to the huddle.
Stephon Diggs, Percy Harvin. I mean, the list goes on and on.
I'm not.
You know, but some of it you gotta be able to see in between the line, like as far as being a competitor, and then okay, so like I don't like calling nobody out.
All right,
but we know who those bad seeds are.
Okay.
You know, with Diggs, it's like, come on, like he competitive. Hey, look, I need the ball more. I need it now. You know, come on, like that. I don't feel like he bad at all. You know, it's just that's a fire, that's a passion I see.
I'm a Vikings fan. I'm a Vikings fan, so I was very close to. I mean, I really love the fact that he was a Viking for the longest time, but then he basically, you know, complained his way out off the team.
I mean, I felt like he wanted the ball, and again, like that was a time where, you know, it's kind of like what happened with me and Lee Evans. When I started blowing up, then they wanted to get rid of Lee. They made it like Lee was a problem, but it was really no issue. Why can't we have multiple receivers? And at that time, it was it not Cup? You guys had another receiver who's balling.
Adam Thielen?
Yeah, Thielen. Thielen was balling, you know, and he was a low-round draft pick, I believe.
Right.
And it was like, why can't we just have both? Work out a deal to have both guys, you know? And I think that's where management got to come in, you know, understand we got 2 dogs. We got enough money. Let's be the first team to have multiple big-time receivers, you know? And I think that's where the Vikings slipped up and let. You know, well, they cool because they got Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out for him.
Really good guy.
It worked out, but I mean, it doesn't often work out like that. So, I'll get the angry emails. I had this. I remember Marcus Allen, when he scored a touchdown, he would hand the ball to the official, and I remember coaches saying, you know, act like you've been there before, referring to the end zone.
Thurman used to do that also.
Yeah.
Thurman handed it to the official all the time, you know. Everybody came up a little bit different. I came up watching Terrell Owens doing this every time he scored. He was doing the dancing and stuff. So that's what got my attention. So, you know, when I came up, I wanted to do the same thing. But yeah, no problem and no ill will to anybody who, however they score or celebrate.
Yeah, I admire anybody who makes it that far, because it's Man, what a cutthroat business it is. Can we talk a little bit about the mechanics of being a good receiver? I don't know if, Stevie, how long you've been in town, but we do a big high school football show here called the Prep Picks Report. We have this podcast hits a lot of the high schools, so you're going to be talking to a lot of high school receivers right now. What is the most common mistake you see? What is the most common piece of advice you could give them?
Be physical. You got to be physical. So before, I'm pretty sure all of them know how to run routes. They all know how to get from A to B. But the most common thing that I see a lot of the receivers, they're not physical at the line of scrimmage or anticipating physicality when you get close to a DB, which I call getting in the fire. They usually get up on them. They let somebody they get too close on them. You got to be physical. This is football. You got to be physical against those guys. And then even with DBs, you got to be physical. If you're not being physical, more times than not, you go lose. And that's coming from a former NFL pro. Just letting y'all know, sometimes you gonna have to be illegal. See if the referee go call the flag or not. And if he don't, keep going. No mercy. But if he does call that flag, now just try to adjust. See how you can adjust. It ain't gonna be perfect, but see how you can adjust.
Are you referring to blocking or just getting off the line of scrimmage?
I would say a little bit of blocking for the DBs and getting off the line of scrimmage for the receivers.
Yeah, I seen your club physical on that creating space sometimes. Yeah, I see you'd almost club like a pass rush sometimes.
Exactly. Which they wouldn't teach. But I'm anticipating that. I'll let the guy get close to me, the DB get close, thinking he's on me, and then I'm coming to clean him up, and I'm doing it as hard as I can. I'm not being nice, but I'll be nice to you after the game. A lot of kids just be more physical, I would say.
So, all the stuff we're talking about, is that part, because you have the mentorship Docuseries coming out, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's Exposure Academy. We'll have that coming out this summer. This will be our second season. And it's a little bit of everything on and off the field. Once again, we created the Exposure Academy as a tool to be able to speak more in depth with the kids. We have a select group every year, and this year we have 8 kids ranging from California to Georgia and New York, and we'll house them and we'll teach them on and off the field things. This year we'll have internship at Buffalo Go, and we was picked up by the Next Network, and we'll be airing on Roku TV and Amazon Fire Stick this summer. It's gonna be a good thing for these kids learning how to mix handling business of doing your schoolwork, going to a job internship, and being able to continue to go to the gym and work out and prepare for what you're trying to get to as collegiate athletes.
So wait, these kids, they come from, you pick them from around the country and they move here and then do it?
Yes. Yeah, so our first season, I had them from all over the country, and I brought them to Northern California. We was in Sacramento. And then this year, I got our destination symposium will be in Buffalo. So I'll get like an Airbnb, and then I'll house them. I'll get them all in there. It's free for them. And anybody's allowed to join. We here for everythody.
How'd you score the Netflix or how'd you get on that platform, Roku?
Everything's just been organic, just connecting with people, posting our content, not really forcing the issue, just doing what we want to do. Like we're trying to be helpful towards these youth kids and leave a good legacy. And, we've been able to run into some good people. And, this was one of the connections with the Next Network out of Atlanta, Georgia. And, they given us this opportunity just to show our docuseries, and we're gonna make the most of it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good. It's only 3 of us too. We just creating. Me and my brother, we just creating how we know, and this is it. Teaching the younger generation, because when we gone, they gonna be taking over this thing. So the more people we can touch and more minds we can spark, the better for our future, I would say.
Being the oldest guy in this conversation, I'm jaded. I look, and I get probably polluted by what's on Twitter and taking that for being real all the time. But I'm jaded that it's all slipping away from us. Are you optimistic, or are you jaded too?
I'm like, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. After we got shut down, you know, that was crazy to me. That was mind blowing that the world was shut down. You know, and that's what really made me get focused on this plan, this exposure academy. Like I can't sit back no more. I gotta utilize my gift or this skill that I was blessed with to give it to all types of athletes, you know, because I feel like if you shut down the world now, who knows what's gonna happen 4 years, 8 years,
Right.
16 years from now. And hopefully with the knowledge that I gave them, they able to be comfortable like I was when the world was shut down. You know, because a lot of stuff went bad, you know, and you know, that's why I'm out here really grinding and hustling for these generations.
Oh, we have to talk about you have something coming up on the 4th of July, do we not?
Yeah. Actually, we got our 4th of July tournament on July 8th and 9th. I connected with Chance James. He got a Steel Canyon High School, which he was also the first athlete to go to the NFL. You know, which is pretty cool connection between us. Two guys that was the first to make it out their high school, and yeah, so we got that going on July 8th and 9th, and we got cash prizes. We go have high school ages 14 to 18. And we got 13U, 12U, 11, and 10U on the bottom field, on the grass field. We'll have vendors out there. You know, it's a community event. You know, it's gonna be something cool, and we just provide another platform. That's basically what it's about, just providing platforms for athletes and creating more events.
Is that boys and girls?
Boys and girls, yeah, flag.
There
Boys
you
and girls flag.
There you go. See, because flag football is going to be a CIF. Girls flag football is going to be a sport here.
Indeed.
This fall. So that's a whole nother, a whole nother wave of students that are going to come your way, Stevie.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I love seeing, you know, the girls coming in as kickers. Now they got their own league to really be comfortable in, and it's only going to rise. They'll end up having professional teams, professional leagues, which is pretty cool, man. I'm all about that. I'm all about that for sure. Corey has some girls at his camp, was pretty cool.
Yeah, they already have the girls league. Don't act like y'all don't watch that lingerie league.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, I seen it a little bit on Twitter. I ain't gonna cap.
All right, let me wade you into.
I got caught up a little bit.
Hey, now this is a G-rated show.
We'll cut that part.
All right, well, let me get you all. Let me lead you into some hot water here, or controversial water, but it's an issue everywhere you go now. We have biological men who are transitioning who want to play in female sports. Do you want to opine on that, Stevie, or do you want to steer clear of it?
Dang, yeah, I don't think it's fair. I really don't think it's fair. You know, as tough as it may seem, I don't know. You know, I just don't think if they was men and they go into a women's sport, I don't think it's fair that they can compete against them. Maybe we just create our own league for them. You know, and then that'll be fair.
There you go.
I think a lot of people agree with that, but it's such a political hot potato right now that if you say that, you're considered equality is being questioned.
Yeah, it only makes sense though. You know, it's like when people have partnerships and then the partner turned dirty and he like try to get more. It's like, why would you turn dirty? Like there's enough money in this world for even to add more to our crew. But why would we put a male who turned into a female into a strictly female league? Okay, just create one league for the males that's turning into females, and they can have that league, because there's enough leagues that can be created for us all, and without nobody having an attitude about it, you know.
All right, fair enough. Hey, let's end this on a less controversial note, though. You're speaking to the kids directly. You're standing before them, and this is day one of whatever academy they're at, or if they're a part of your Roku show. When you're asked to speak, what's your message to the youth?
Man, make sure y'all connect with each other, because this may be y'all first time meeting with each other, but this may have the potential to be 15, 16, and lifetime friendships that you may connect with each other at these camps. Don't be afraid to say hello and speak to somebody. That's the main thing, because that's where it all starts. Just one spark may turn into a great friendship, and they may help you with jobs or networking in the future. You know, that's the main thing that I like to get for our Exposure Academy guys. You know, learning to communicate. That's a major thing that helped me in my life. And the athletics will be natural, you know, as you have a passion for it. But learning to communicate, that can work on and off the field.
All right, so let's review as we wrap this up. Handle business, have fun. Exposure Academy, July 4th, flag football tourney, and connect. You and I need to connect better.
Yeah, we do.
We have no connection. Stevie, this conversation has been a joy. I hope I get to meet you face to face, and I hope you I hope you get to be part of our high school football show. Check around, ask people about the Prep Pigskin Report. You'll see that our lanes, we run parallel to one another. We're both in the same game. So learn about us, and we'll learn more about you. Okay.
Absolutely. Definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to the becoming.
Okay. Stevie Johnson, everybody. This podcast is now over. Stevie, we'll post some of it today. I'll make sure to tag you on everything. And, by the way, this is brought to you by the San Diego Strike Force. We're very glad. And everybody who's watching this, watch us on the Prep Picks Report YouTube page. Hit the like and subscribe button. We're trying to get to 14,000 subscribers before the year's over. Peace out. Bye. Bye, Stevie. This podcast is over.